right, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, sociology. Oh yeah, go Bulls, go Bulls, go Bulls. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah. Oh hey, what's up, everybody? I didn't know you were gonna be here. I was just settling in for an early morning beverage. Gonna watch some old Bulls. Gonna watch The Last Dance again, just like it was yesterday. What? Deviants? I don't know nothing about that. Trust me. Mm. 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 Yeah, I guess we could do this. Sure. Yeah, chapter 6 is deviants. I don't know. That's some deviants right there. That's all sorts of it. Look at that. That little girl's got an AK-47. Holy cow! Is that Kim Cattrall? Oh yeah, cannabis. Little bit of Big Mouth. That's a great cartoon. And a home birth. That's totally deviant too, right? All right, let's start to think about deviants. I mean, what's the most deviant thing you've done today? Watch this video? My man bun? What? Stop. Everybody loves a man bun. My tattoos? Oh, they need to get touched up. They're kind of old. What? Oh, well, I know I'm a college teacher. Anyway, let's just get into deviants. So let's start thinking about deviant. There's a Banksy. Follow Your Dreams Canceled. He's that artist that pops up every once in a while. Some really great social commentary artwork in public places. All right, so am I deviant? How? And these are questions for you to think about, not necessarily me, right? What does deviance mean? I mean, we think it means one thing, probably means a lot of things. How do we define it? And how do we define deviant behavior in our society? I mean, why are some things considered deviant? Lecturing to you with a glass of water. Lecturing to you with a beer early in the morning. Maybe the water's deviant to some people. Why consider the concept of social control when thinking about deviance? Who is deviant on campus? Why? How does that change? And why are some people considered deviant and not others? First thing that pops in my head is like wearing a mask, right? How about used to be deviant to wear a mask in this culture? People in other cultures have been doing it for decades when they're sick to take care of other folks. Now we're asking people to wear and have to mandate masks for just a few minutes in public, and they're having massive meltdowns. Is that deviant? Is it more deviant to ask you to wear a mask? Is it even more deviant to spread a virus through the air without disregard for human life? I don't know. We're going to talk about it, okay? But first, I'm okay with taking a look at me. So are you deviant? When I ask this question to my class, almost always, almost everybody admits they are indeed a human being, which makes you deviant, right? Whether you're the dude or whether you're a bunch of losers and pointy hoods from the Ku Klux Klan, maybe a serial killer, OJ, just Ted Nugent in general, or maybe you're a librarian and you're deviant. What? Absolutely. There are all sorts of ways to define sociologically and describe deviance, and that's why I love this chapter, because we're going to get into it. Am I a Bulls fan? You bet, baby. I watched all the rings. MJ, but my favorite player, Scottie Pippen, and wearing my Joakim Noah, right? He's got the man bun jersey on today. But how about me? Let's take a look at, well, me in a minute, I guess. Does everyone, regardless of race, run the same risk of being sent to prison if they engage in illegal drug use? So let's look at who does the drugs. So the share of all users of illegal drugs, about 12.6% African American, 66.3% non-Hispanic whites, people of European descent. But when we look at the share of inmates in federal or state prison convicted of drug offenses, wait a second. You're telling me that there's 66% of the users, but only 30% of those incarcerated? And only 12% of the users, but 50.5% of all the folks that are inmates in state or federal prison convicted of a drug offense are African American? That seems ridiculous. And certainly it is. And there are a lot of things that we could talk about in regards to policing and race that we're addressing as a nation right now, but this is certainly one of them. So Is it more deviant to lock up the people who aren't even doing the drugs as much and let the other folks go? Is it more deviant to not arrest people who are doing drugs? Should all drugs be legal across the board as they are in some cultures? I mean, how we define deviance just in regards to the war on drugs in this country is a whole nother conversation. Oh, let's look at me though. Newsflash: I am deviant. Woo, 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 woo. I don't know. Today, speeding. I've been around town. I'm a Lizzo fan. Eating organic. Can that possibly be deviant? To some people, absolutely. Hate cell phones. Got it right here. Check it out. Oh, that's a beautiful screen and some packing tape. I don't care. Don't like it. It serves a function. That's it. Listens to gangster rap. Snoop, Dre, Pac, you name it. Biggie, I'm there. I don't know. Some people think that's deviant. In the past, underage drinking, maybe. Anti-war protester, you bet. Cohabitation, or as my parents would call it, shacking up with somebody else. Yes, I did do that. My parents thought that was extremely deviant. Pot, cannabis, did inhale plenty. I'm going to leave that one for you to decide. Premarital sex. Theft of a chocolate bar. Yeah, I'm not good at stealing stuff. I'm not very deviant in regards to that, but I remember taking a chocolate bar when I was a kid and getting a big rush, and my friends, we all knew it was wrong, and then one of our friends got in trouble, and then we all eventually got in trouble, because just because you enjoy deviant behavior doesn't mean that all of that is just going to go unnoticed. And in the future, I don't know, something with my tractor. I mean, maybe me just tearing through town with the tractor, the big spikes on the front. I don't know. I'm excited to find out. The idea here, catfish posse. Yeah, I love fishing with my dad. And we've got this flat bottom boat that smells like nasty catfish bait. We've been fishing it all day, and it's like, poor man's version of a boat. Are we deviant? Sure. When the bass fishermen cruise by in their $100,000 boat and take a look at us, I feel like they might think we're deviant. So an idea here is, look at all of this, folks. Look, I'm deviant and you are too. Let's just take probably out of there. To somebody, for some reason that you can't even control, even if you follow all the laws and all the rules, just your very existence as a woman, or just your very existence as a minority, or just your very existence as a snowboarder or gamer or college student or teenager is distressing to some people and grounds for them to think you're deviant. So Simmons took a study of random people, asked, who do you think is deviant, and got 252 different answers. Republicans, prostitutes, draft dodgers, alcoholics, drug addicts, murderers, mentally ill, communists, atheists, liars, tax dodgers, Democrats, reckless drivers, the retired, the elderly, career women, working moms, divorcees, homosexuals, Christians, Muslims, movie stars, strippers, pacifists, bridge players? Have I got a story for you? We'll get back to it. Priests, liberals, the disabled, conservatives, girls who wear makeup, executives, hipsters, know-it-all students, the homeless, know-it-all professors, to name a few. Look, there's over 200 to go just on that list, right? Let's get back to bridge players once. So my grandma, Barbara, she's a feisty Colorado grandma. I'm from Chicago, Illinois originally. She's lived out here forever. As a kid, my parents were teachers, so that's like the one trip we would make because it didn't cost a lot of money. Not going to go to Disney World. Going to go to Colorado, which was fantastic. And when she got old enough, the kids decided that she needed to go to a home, and it was just easiest. So my mom said, I'll watch over her, I'll take care of her, and I'll be the one she'd come to Freeport, where my parents live, and I'll check in on her. That's fine. So Barbara goes out there, and about 6 months after she goes out there, she's feisty mountain woman, used to her organic food and her beer, and does not want to be in a home. And so she was not happy at all about that. And we got a call like 6 months into it from the home, and they said, we just want you to know Barbara is the nicest, most amazing, friendly person we have here. She is wonderful. Thank you. And it was a message. And I remember my mom got off the phone, and she hung up the phone, and she's like, that's not my mom. She knows her mom. So we were like, what is going on? Fast forward about 6 months to a year later, right? And what they had said is also she gets together with her friends here and they wear their little hats and they play bridge out on the back porch area, on this deck area, and they have their little lemonades and they're the greatest folks we have here, the most fun folks. Again, my mom was like, something's wrong. So we get a call a year later and they're like, ooh, yeah. So anyway, Barbara, she's been paying this guy that works here that just turned 21 to buy all sorts of liquor for her and her friends for the last year. So yeah, my grandma was sitting out in her fun hats with her friends getting hammered, drinking a ton out on the patio and paying someone who had just turned 21 to do it. So, yep, bridge players too, grandmas too, you name it. We are all deviant in some scenario to somebody. Now let's do a definition here. All right. Deviance refers to any attitude, behavior, or a condition that violates cultural norms or societal laws and results in disapproval, hostility, or sanction if it becomes known, right? So could just be something simple like you jaywalk and nobody's going to write you a ticket, but somebody looks at you, gives you a dirty look. Maybe just the existence of teenagers in a neighborhood to the old person on the corner, get off of my lawn, you kids. Maybe they're not even doing anything wrong, but it's just that they're teenagers on their bikes. But so basically, right, the complete definition, it can be anything from an action to a state of being, and it certainly doesn't need to be something that somebody chooses, right, that results in disapproval, hostility, or sanction, okay? It could just be the color of your skin, your gender, right? Ascribed statuses, you were born this way, in a lower socioeconomic status, like whatever that might be reason for someone, to see you as deviant. So deviant is really hard to define, even for sociologists, because it's such a broad category. But it does involve a couple things, and one is a perceived difference, and the other is some type of moral judgment. Now, who is doing the moral judging is a key here, right? Because it's not always somebody with morals. A lot of times there are politicians and they're on House religious committees or moral committees for the very fabric of us. And then this particular individual years ago got arrested in a Minneapolis bathroom, a senator did, for soliciting gay sex and using cocaine. I mean, that person wasn't very moral, but they happened to be in charge of making moral decisions. Wow. So obviously, who determines it? And we talk about this every chapter, who has the power and the access and who is dominant in culture and who has that power to define others as something and not themselves, perhaps even if they're engaging in the most deviant behavior of all, or much greater deviant behavior. Oh, murder ball. That's, the wheelchair basketball, I think, or the wheelchair ball. It's pretty awesome. They've got a documentary on it. Deviance can be criminal or non-criminal. So we think of deviance as perhaps breaking a law, but a lot of those things that we had on that slide weren't necessarily that, right? So it's not restricted to a specific group or a gender or an age or a political affiliation. Everybody of all political affiliations, ages, genders, specific groups can be deviant to somebody else. It includes or can include something not consciously chosen, medical conditions, right? Illnesses. Maybe somebody's just gone through chemo and they're a woman and they don't have any hair, and we expect men to go bald, but maybe not women. And so somebody looks at that person, doesn't know that, and thinks, oh, well, what are they doing? Or they are deviant. Could be a physical defect, abnormality, or differing level of ability, right? And again, based oftentimes on moral or even legal judgment if it goes that far. Whoa, look at those tats on those kids. Tight. That kid's a manimal. Woo, that's gotta hurt. I'm not really good at getting tattoos. About 10 seconds into most of my tattoos, they're like, you're turning green, you should breathe. But deviance varies. So let's just get this down so that we all know it's relative. It's a subjective concept, right? It's not just guaranteed that everybody's going to consider that deviant. Definitions of deviance vary from place to place, time to time. I've already told you that society's not stagnant. It always changes, and certainly between and within groups, right? The Republicans of the 1970s would look at the Republicans of this day and age and be like, where's your fiscal conservacy? Like, where's your environmental conservancy? We started, the Endangered Animal Species Act, and anyway, we started all of these type of environmental protections. How can that be this day and age? Could be something like students, you name it. Anyway, it varies, and it's different even between certain groups. Is there a difference between what you and your parents consider deviant? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. And that is also based on all of these other things, place to place, time to time. If your parents grew up, if they're 30 years older than you, society was a lot different. To my parents, moving in with somebody before marriage was drastic, was huge. It was a huge deal to them. For my generation, not a big deal, just another roommate, whatever, right? We're not breaking any giant norms because we're not in 1950s. So think about those differences, what you consider to be deviant, what your parents consider, or other people that you've had to deal with or interact with in society. All right, so take a look at this couple, take a look at this guy, and you tell me, deviant or not. We'll come back. Just keep it in your mind. We'll come back later in this lecture and we'll talk about it. So what triggers our reaction and makes us say, yes, a certain thing is deviant? Could it be his turtleneck? It could be. Or the way that he's got his pants hiked way up. Fashion can be deviant as well. Just ask Lizzo. Love Lizzo. All right, everybody. I'll see you next time. I'm in the lane. I'm driving the lane for the 3. Oh, Scottie Pippen. Oh, and that's right. And I'm going to say, and my man bun is going to say, be good people and do good things. And this is a great chapter. I hope you're enjoying this class. Take care, everybody. See you next time.